Hey guys, so this is an interesting video on Wild Rift. So we're back with a Lucian supplementary guide, and we have a really interesting one for you guys today. So this is going to be going through Lucian's old build. Now actually something I didn't realize, like this is just on the fly here. I didn't notice that Lucian was categorized as a solo laner as well. I thought that he was only mid and duo, but hey, you know, learn something new every day I guess. So anyways, here we have the old school Lucian build. Now, when Lucian first released was before items like Essence Reaver, not Infinity Edge, items like Essence Reaver and Navori Quick Blades even got introduced into the game back when there was the Sentinel event. But eventually, like about a patch later, I believe, was when Essence Reaver and Navori Quick Blades got introduced into the game. And this was pretty much Lucian's like default best build. So this build is no longer as good as it once was, especially because of a couple of reasons. The first reason is that Stormrazor is such an overpowered item at the moment. And secondly, Essence Reaver is a pretty overpriced item. But hey, I don't personally think this is the best build. I still think that the default Stormrazor, i.e. into Bloodthirster build is better. However, I do enjoy playing this build because this build is basically playing Lucian as a caster marksman, mainly focusing on spells and not focusing on basic attacks all that much. So you will see later on in the gameplay how you get insane like cooldown reduction with the Navori Quick Blades and how you can basically spam your spells. So anyways, we're going to go through the build, runes, and the spells really quickly. So first up, we have the Essence Reaver. So Essence Reaver, what it gives you, of course, you guys can see AD, crit, and ability haste. So it also gives you the Essence Flare, where your damaging abilities will deal basically extra damage that scales off of your crit, and it only triggers once per target. So basically, this increases Lucian's damage on his ult, his W, and his Q. But mainly, you can see it really on his Q and his ult. And you also get the Mana Siphon, where it restores 3% missing mana on hit. Now this is not, the Mana Siphon part isn't the most important part, but you will realize that with this build you spam a lot of spells, so it really does actually help Lucian in terms of getting a little bit of mana back to actually use your spells. Next up we got the IE, of course, AD crit and more crit damage. For the boots, I actually like going for the Gluttonous Greaves with this build. Now, why do I like going for the Gluttonous Greaves? Now, honestly, I feel that with this build, you don't need the Boots of Furor. Now, the reason you don't need it is because your E is basically up all the time and you're dashing non-stop, so you really don't need that extra movement speed from the Boots of Furor, in my opinion. You can, of course, go for the defensive boots as well, but this build is really lacking lifesteal, so I like to go for the Gluttonous Greaves myself. And, of course, for the boot enchant, I generally like to go for Stasis, pretty much a catch-all rune, but other options include Proto Belt, Quicksilver enchant, and as well as the Repulsor if you like playing Repulsor. So next up we got the Navori Quick Blades. So here we have more AD, more crit, more ability haste, and when you crit, it will reduce the cooldown of your basic abilities by 15% of their remaining cooldown. So with the Navori Quick Blades, you can really spam your abilities by a lot. Now, if you notice, a couple of observations. Firstly, with this three crit items, you don't get any attack speed. Now, that's because you don't really care about attack speed. You only care about casting spells. Next up, you got AD on all 3 of these items, as well as ability haste on 2 of them, as well as crit on all of them. So overall, this is going to give you a ton of AD, a ton of ability haste, and obviously 75% crit. So for this particular build, I normally think it's better to go for Navori Quick Blades before you go for Seralda's Grudge, because when you get to this 3-item power spike, it's a lot more impactful than when you get to the Bloodthirster power spike in the normal build. So after that, you go for the Seralda's Grudge, obviously for the slow, even more ability haste, even more AD, and of course the armor penetration. And finally, you top it off with a GA. Now, when your GA is down, you technically have 2 options. The first option is to replace GA with the Bloodthirster, and your other option will be to replace the GA with the Solari Charge Blade. Now, Solari Charge Blade obviously is going to be giving you a lot more damage, gives you crit and ability haste again. Now, this time you do get the attack speed, but that's not really the important part. The important part is getting the Sunburst passive. We're at 100% crit, and with the Navori Quick Blades, basically you're going to be spamming spells non-stop, of course auto-attacking in between to prompt your passive, so this is going to put your damage through the roof. So next up, we're going to talk about the runes. So for your keystone, obviously you're going to take Kraken Slayer. Now, after Conqueror got nerfed, basically on Lucian, Kraken Slayer is now the go-to rune. Obviously, far and away better than Conqueror. And for domination, obviously we go for Hunter, Vampirism, of course for the Lifesteal. And I like to go for Nullifying Orb on Lucian because he's a very early game focused champion and great at snowballing. So we want to have that shield in the lane to of course get kills more easily and prevent ourselves from dying. Finally, we go for the Hunter Genius, of course, for the ability haste. Now, of course, this build is all about ability haste and casting spells, so this is obviously the most logical route to take. And finally, for the spells, obviously, we got Exhaust and Flash. Don't really think I need to explain that all that much. So without further ado, we can jump into the Lucian gameplay itself. Okay, so now we're into the gameplay itself. Now, as I mentioned, of course, a couple of times across my videos, Lucian is one of my two favorite champions, the other one being Jhin. And this is honestly the build that I prefer on Lucian. I think that Lucian's identity as a champion is more towards a spellcaster than an actual like auto attack oriented ADC, which is what the Stormrazor build is kind of making him into. So I really do prefer going for this build compared to like the Stormrazor build. But hey, you know, personally, as I said, I still think the Stormrazor build is better. But I'm not going to hesitate to go for this build when I feel like it. Like even though I know it's not the best, but you know, if you're having fun, why not? So here we're into a Alistar and a Jinx lane. Now honestly, this is not an easy lane because Jinx, especially with her rocket form, outranges you by a lot and can easily poke you down, whereas you can't go anywhere near to engage onto her because if you do, Alistar is going to chain CC you and you're going to be in trouble. So on paper, this lane is supposed to be relatively difficult to play, but a small spoiler, as you guys are gonna see like momentarily, it turns out that it's not as difficult as I thought it would be. So firstly, Jinx is not using her rockets to poke me at all, so she isn't really actually exerting any kind of pressure on me, which basically makes it really easy for me to play the lane. So due to the Jinx basically lack of lane knowledge, it's gonna make it really easy for me, and the Alistar doesn't do the best job of protecting the Jinx. So here, bubble onto the Jinx allows me to go in with all of my spells and basically all in her. I exhaust her and I get double exhausted by both Jinx and Alistar. Basically, Jinx and Alistar pop all of their summoners. As you guys can see, they both have absolutely no summoners left. Whereas me and Nami both still have Flash. So basically, a kill is guaranteed. Jinx sticks around and basically eats my full combo again and dies. So honestly, even if she had backed off or recalled there, we would still eventually get a kill in the lane just because we have a double flash advantage. So it's basically almost impossible for them to get out of that lane without dying unless they play super duper safe, which not a lot of people do. So we already got a really good start to the lane, getting the kill onto the Jinx. Alistar, of course, probably recalled there, so he was out of the woods in that occasion. So we managed to 2v1 the Jinx and basically just kill her. So you can also see how strong Kraken Slayer is. Like if we had Conqueror, then the kill might not have came through because the Kraken Slayer does do a lot of damage in the early game. And yeah. And a small side note is that Kraken Slayer of course scales with bonus AD, and this build actually allows Kraken Slayer to scale better. So here yet again, Jinx gets caught, puts the traps behind me but doesn't realize I'm actually not going behind. Alistar hitbutts me in range to her and I do kill her again. Alistar eats my entire ultimate, however he does survive on 1 HP. So either way, this allows us to shove in the lane. Jinx is going to lose minions, Alistar is going to lose minions as well, and we also do manage to get a plate. Nami backs off and allows me to get the full plate to myself. Shoutouts to the Nami there. And we are in a huge gold advantage. So here you can see we have over 3k gold, whereas Alistar has literally half our gold and Jinx also has half our gold. So big turn of events, 1 plate, 2 kills, really turns the tide of the lane. So here I am able to pick up the Essence Reaver already, a mere like 3.5 minutes into the game. So enemy team obviously is going to be in deep trouble. And something else to note though is Diana is also 2-in-1. I'm not 2-in-1, but she also has 2 kills, so that's something to look out for. And yeah, so here we're back into the lane. Basically now the Jinx and Alistar have to play really safe, especially since I now have a completed item. I can basically do what I want with them in the lane so long as I don't play over aggressive and get ganked by the Lucian. Lucian hasn't really shown his face in bot yet, so we do want to be cautious because he can be anywhere. You know, we don't know where he is at the moment, but what we do know is that we can zone the Jinx and Alistar off of the wave, so that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not letting them get into the XP range of the wave, so that they basically cannot get anything out of it. Another nice bubble by the Jinx. Alistar's not close enough to protect the Jinx, and I am able to get off a good amount of damage. However, the trade comes over from them. Alistar goes in and Jinx ults me. However, since we still survive with a relatively good amount of HP, after picking up the fruit, basically we're back to healthy. Both of them pop their ults, so we will have a major advantage when we're fighting them next. Me and Nami both have sums up, whereas Jinx doesn't actually have her flash, so we also have a summoner advantage. So if they pick another fight with us, they're going to be in trouble yet again. So always gotta know when to push your advantage. So here we see a skirmish between Diana and Lucian versus our team. Here I'm flashing over. Ahri manages to pick up the kill onto the Diana, and we are able to actually get the kill, and then we're gonna try to move on to the dragon. Now, Ahri gets caught out by the enemy bot lane, so here I'm waiting and I'm going over the wall, blasting the Alistar. Nice charm by the Ahri onto the Jinx, proccing her electrocute as well. I managed to, I actually don't manage to finish her off. Ahri finishes her off. And we're back to trying to get the dragon. Here Ahri hits another beautiful charm onto the Lee Sin, and I finish off the Lee Sin. Nami finishes off the Vayne, and basically it's just kills galore for our team. However, this puts us at really low resources. Nami has no mana. I have pretty much no health. Only about a third health left. And here we have Diana, who obviously respawned from the first death and is back in the fray. Diana goes in, ults, and here I'm going back in to try to help to take her down. She comes back in onto me, and I am able to kill her as well as the Skull Crab. At this point in time, I know that we cannot do the dragon anymore. The entire rest of the enemy team is respawning and headed back to the dragon. So basically, at this point here, even though we basically won the fight, what we should have done is all backed off the dragon and not even attempt to go for the dragon, because the enemy team is way better in terms of health and resources compared to us. We have a lot of gold in the pocket, and we have not spent it to get items yet because we are stuck at the dragon pit in a really long extended fight. So really not the best idea for us to force the dragon, but either way we do end up forcing the dragon, and as a result Wukong dies, the enemy team picks up the dragon. Not the hardest thing in the world. Either way, personally, we're 4-0-3. We have basically the BF sword halfway completed. So in terms of ourselves, we are doing really well. As you guys can see, 1Q instantly clears the wave. Of course, with the Essence Reaver. For you guys who played Lucian and never built Essence Reaver, which is really forgivable because Essence Reaver Lucian hasn't been a thing for like, I think, over half a year at least. Maybe even almost a year. So anyways, I barely missed out on catching the Jinx, but that's fine. I'm instead gonna just clear out the wave and go on to pushing the tower. Of course, I'm kind of weaving my spells in, like you guys can see here, to get more damage onto the tower with my passive. I managed to take down the tower and get the full local gold from the tower, 350 more gold in my pocket. So I'm really getting kind of fed. And now that my wave is pushed up, nothing much to do. I'm gonna farm the Krugs. And I'm also interested in taking the red buff because at this point in time I'm super fed. I have enough gold to actually complete my IE already at this point. So I'm pinging to take the red buff, and thankfully Wukong does give it over. So here I'm going to back, and I'm going to be able to pick up my Infinity Edge. Like so. So 4-0-3, first two items completed, 7k gold. And Diana is also at 7k gold. So as I said, Diana is really the person to watch in this whole match, because she'll be the main problem of our team. Also through a little bit of bad macro on our side. But we'll get into that later when we get there. So for now, we're doing really well. Diana sort of gets caught out in the middle lane. So here I'm trying to finish her off, but she does manage to dodge my Q. And basically a full-on team fight breaks out as the entire enemy team shows up. Here I'm trying to ult, but I end up ulting into the Alistar, who has his ult on, so I don't end up doing quite a lot of damage. I exhaust the Lee Sin and am able to pick up the kill on him. I'm flashing back. Alistar barely survives. Is getting burned by the red buff, but I don't believe he dies. Yeah, he does survive on 1 HP. A little bit unfortunate there, but hey, you know, we take what we can get, and we are able to back now 5-0 and 4. So another 2 more KP to our name, as well as the Gluttonous Greaves to our name. Right, so here yet again, we got some free time. We're going to farm the jungle yet again. As I mentioned, you always want to be farming something. Doesn't matter if it's jungle monsters, if it's minions or whatnot. You always want to be farming whenever you have nothing to do. Now, of course, unless there is completely no jungle camps and the waves are all pushed up. If not, you should always be trying to farm as an ADC. So here I'm going to head back over to the top wave, and I'm going to push in the top wave. I see Vayne over there, and I can also see Lucian rotating. As you guys can see, Lucian does go in on the Garen. So I know that I cannot push any further, so instead I'm just going to back and complete my stasis. Of course, really important is the stasis, because I'm 5-0 and 4. I want to try my best to not get shut down and not give over the shutdown to anybody in any team, so that stasis is going to be really helpful in terms of that. So here it looks like another fight is about to break out. Lucian does go in on, I believe it is Nami. So it's kind of a 3v3 breaking out at the river, whereas it's a mini 1v1 with Garen versus Vayne. In the meantime, as you guys can see, this is where we make the big macro mistake. Diana has taken the tier 1 bot tower and has the entire local gold to herself. She's going to be continuing in terms of her pushing on the bot lane, because we are all in the top lane getting distracted by the Rift Herald as well as the enemy team. So really good macro by the enemy team in this case. So here Diana is pushing again. So you will see that Diana basically gets a full 2 towers worth of gold funneled into herself, which as you guys can see, after she destroys the tower, puts her at almost 10.5k gold, and I'm only at 9.5, so that has given her a basically 1k gold injection. So Jinx, caught in no man's land, gets ulted by Garen and just dies. So really good pick by our team. And here I know Diana is here. I'm pinging my team to collapse onto her, and she does stasis, but doesn't really matter. Gets hit by everybody's CC and does end up dying. The next dragon is coming up in 5 more seconds. So I'm pinging my team to go for the dragon. But in the meantime, you guys can see Vayne is cross-mapping and gets the top lane tier 1. Honestly, there's nothing we could have done to stop that, unless there was already somebody there. But since everybody was here, there really wasn't anything we could have done about that. So instead, we're just going to pick up the dragon, and we're just going to reset. So here, getting another Caulfield's Warhammer and another glove. Now, the kind of bad thing about Navari Quick Blades and Essence Reaver is that they build not out of VF Sword, but they build out of Caulfield's Warhammer and the Cloak. Of course, and if something builds out of VF Sword, like Storm Razor, like IE, it's always going to be a lot better, because the build path is going to give you a lot more damage before you actually hit the actual item. So that's another thing that kind of sucks about like these 2 items, but you know, they do their job, I guess. So here we're having a fight at the Herald. I'm kind of circling around to start to stay safe. And here Alistar almost dies, but lives on 1 HP. Here I'm ulting, trying to kill Alistar, but he doesn't die still. I flash in to kill the Alistar, dash forward, and the red buff does end up killing the Vayne. Here I'm doing as much damage as I can. Stasis, and I managed to auto the Jinx for the triple, but I know I'm not going to be able to kill Diana, because she is not the squishiest in the world. Kind of a fighter slash assassin, so I do get the triple and I do die, but honestly I did the best I could there. I was pretty much in a 1v3 at the end, and I did manage to trade 2 kills before I died myself, so I'm really, quite satisfied with that. And here now they summon the second Rift Herald into the top lane, and here Garen trying to defend the top lane. Actually, he isn't even trying to defend the top lane, he's trying to kill the Diana, but doesn't quite work out. But he does manage to bait the Diana for long enough to keep her interested, which allows the Wukong to come in and finish off the kill onto the Diana herself. So now we've eaten our first death, 9, 1, and 5, but we have our triple crit items completed. So this is your strongest power spike with this Lucian build. Actually, it's technically not your strongest, because when you get Serelda's Grudge, you're even stronger. But this is a huge 3-item power spike for Lucian, because with this triple item power spike, you're going to be able to spam your spell. So basically, like when you start off your combo with your E. So I'm going to show you guys, I believe it's here. So when you, so here you can see your E cooldown. Take a look at your E cooldown. Basically, when you go through a basic combo, your E is going to be back up. And then you basically can do your E again. So you normally like do EQ, E auto, Q auto, W auto, and your E is going to be back up. Then you can E auto again. So that's something that's pretty big. I'm gonna see if I can show you guys that again. So here I can see E auto, Q auto, W auto, E is back up again. Then you can E auto again, Q auto again, and basically that's the power of Navori Quick Blades. So your E is basically going to be permanently off cooldown as long as you have somebody to auto, and by somebody I mean minions, monsters, or champions. Obviously it doesn't quite work on towers. So here Diana kind of manages to wipe my whole team. So I'm going to rotate up to help the Ahri out. Ahri is in stasis. I come over with the exhaust. She still kills the Ahri through the exhaust and she manages to stasis herself. I'm thinking this is an easy kill, but I instantly get bursted by the Diana. I have no idea why Diana has so much damage and is so tanky. I mean, I guess I know why she's so tanky. It's because of her W. But that's a huge amount of damage from the Diana, who does have her Rod of Ages, Death Cap, and the Infinity Orb. So Diana is going to be a huge problem from now on. As you guys can see, she basically kind of killed our entire team there. But her only weakness is the fact that she's always overextended and out of position a lot of the time. So here, she's really overextended. Wukong goes in with the ultimate. Nami goes in with the bubble. And Wukong again with the ultimate. Here, you guys can see, she goes in with the ultimate. Garen comes in with the ultimate as well. She kills both the Wukong as well as the Nami. And she basically gets out, if not for the Ahri. Ahri, you guys can see 1.1k shutdown onto the Diana. That's huge. So Ahri does, sorry, not Ahri, me. I do come in to get the kill on the Lucian. However, I'm getting pelted by Jinx's rockets. And here I'm trying to, I realize that there's no way I'm going to walk through an Alistar. So I try to walk towards the Jinx to try to like a lifesteal offer. But two problems. Number one, I don't have Bloodthirst. And number two, I'm a little bit too low to even try to do that. So I do end up just dying to the Jinx. So you guys can see things are going a bit sideways at this point. We started off 9-0, now we're 10-3, so not quite what we had in mind. But you know, the main problem is the Diana, so we really need to find a way to shut down the Diana. So we'll see that basically after these two encounters with Diana, my whole team basically realizes that the Diana is priority number one to kill, because basically no one on their team is really online except for the Diana. But the problem here is that Jinx and Vayne are both late game champions, and if Diana manages to buy enough time for their team, they will eventually manage to become monsters themselves. So we're gonna have three problems if we don't deal with the Diana. So the strategy here is to deal with the Diana first, and then we move on to whoever else is left. So here Diana is in stasis, Wukong gets the knockup, I get the ult, and we do manage to finish off the Diana. Next on the menu we have Alistar. Alistar is down. However, I do get exhausted. I'm sorry, by the Vayne, and Vayne exhausts me. I exhaust her. Eventually ends up with me dying. Here a beautiful stasis by Ahri. Beautiful charm by Ahri with the lifesteal. Now that play by Ahri was really good to survive, because Ahri should have died there, but the good stasis with the good charm with the passive proc to lifesteal actually saved her life there. So really nice play by the Ahri. And yeah, so now we're back to business. Business being trying to kill that Diana. So when you identify the enemy's win condition, obviously you gotta be focusing her. So in this case, we got to kill the Diana. So as you guys can see, we did manage to kill the Diana on that occasion, but we still didn't quite manage to like win the rest of the fight. But that's a step in the right direction. We always gotta eliminate the Diana first, and then we can talk about other champions like the Vayne or the Jinx. Alright, so now I'm gonna actually just go and pick up this huge bot wave. We gotta clear it out. So far we are still good. Both teams are relatively even in goals, so it's a really even match. Here yet again, I'm showing the cooldown of the Navori Quick Blades. Boom, boom, boom. Everything comes up basically instantly after you cast your spells and get the cooldown from the Navori Quick Blades. Alright, so we can see Diana over there. 1 Q, you guys can see, does almost a quarter of my health. Pretty insane. So here Alistar goes in for the engage, shoves Ahri into her team, and Ahri dies. Nearly actually got out with the ult there. So here I'm focusing the Alistar who has ult on. That's because I can't really focus anybody else. I spot Vayne here. I'm going to exhaust her and basically finish her off real quickly. Diana is over there. I stasis because I thought I was going to get caught in her ultimate, but turns out I wouldn't actually have. Wukong picks up the triple, and basically only Diana is left on her team. I do pop my ult and then dash over to get the slow onto the Diana. So basically Diana has no escape. We're just going to try to kill Diana before she kills any of us. She was actually this close to killing me and Nami, because when we are below the 35% health threshold, she would crit against us, and I think one more attack would have killed both me and Nami. But thankfully we managed to kill her before that happened. If not, that would be kind of disaster. So with that ace on the enemy team, we are able to, of course, pick up a Baron. And this Baron is, of course, going to be really useful for us trying to end the game. So far, both teams still have their inhibitors up. So it's still a really at this point, it's still anyone's game. But if we manage to use the Baron to crack open a couple of inhibitors, we're going to be at a significant advantage. So here, after I pick up the red buff, I do have enough for the GA. So I'm going to back pick up the GA. This gives me full build, 14, 4, and 6 now. Full build under 20 minutes. And this is where we are really going to try to destroy people if at all possible, and try to avoid getting destroyed by the Diana. Jinx is a really questionable build with the Bloodthirster and the Runaan's Hurricane, no Stormrazor. Not quite sure what that build is all about. But anyways, here we're going to try to secure the Skull of Vision because the Elder Dragon is coming out, and we do actually secure that Skull of Vision. We do spot Alistar and Vayne around the mid lane region. Kind of autopiloting to farming here, even though I'm already full build. Obviously, I'm pinging to go for the Elder Dragon, and we're gonna see what happens here. So here, sort of a skirmish is gonna kind of break out in the mid lane. Here, Diana goes in and gets knocked out by the Wukong. This is our opportunity to get rid of the Diana. So here we do actually manage to get rid of the Diana and Vayne as well. So here we managed to actually kill the Vayne. Only Lucian is left, and we don't even need the Elder Dragon anymore. We can simply just end the game. Lucian cannot defend the base by himself. So there we go, GG's. And yeah, pretty exciting game, really fun build as I mentioned. And I'll be leaving you guys with the stats as usual. So thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.